So this seminar is called Do More with AI, and it was born out of my experience as a software developer, knowing so much about AI and see how people still struggle to use some of these tools, and also people not using them to like the best they can. Please, I want to confirm if you can hear me. So, on your side, can someone just say hello on their side so that I can at least confirm that? Then we proceed.
Hello, sir. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can. Thank you. So, I'm going to introduce myself again. My name is Lawal Oluwatimlain. I'm a software engineer and an AI specialist with over 10 years experience building technology. I've worked as a startup founder. I've worked across several businesses, real estate, um, um, normal business of selling, um, helping people across different countries, Nigeria, US, UK, helping them build digital products and then launching them. So it will be a very interactive class and seminar. So we'll be doing a lot of practicals, and I'm telling you, it's going to be value for your money, and we would not exceed an hour. So, how many of us use ChatGPT on the group? We can just signify it by using the hand raising emoji. How many of us have used ChatGPT before? Okay. How many of us? Okay. Okay. We have two, three. Thank you. Thank you. And yes, so it's a common technology that a lot of us use on a day-to-day basis. But do you know that you can actually do more with some of these AI products we use? Um, I want to tell you about the whole story about AI and let you understand what makes it different from Googling or magic or um, or being a tool. So unlike normal search engines where um, the engine is trying to look for what is on the web, it's trying to look for what is on the web to give you an answer. Um, all these AI models were actually built in such a way, no matter how complex you see it is now, the main the main reason why they were built were to software that can predict. Sorry, I don't know why it's requesting for me to allow people in, though we added everybody to the calendar. But then, so unlike Google, Google is trying to look for a website for you. If you're a developer here, you understand that if you had a bug or you wanted to find something, you Google will refer you to platforms that people have already they've written um, some article on it, or they've dropped some blog post. Then Google tells you to go to that place, and then you then go there, then see a code that probably does not fit the context of what you are trying to solve, and then you have to then go through several hours of debugging. And also, unlike Google, you cannot ask Google to, no matter how, now though they've made adjustments by adding Gemini, right? You cannot ask Google that, oh, this is my context. Can you look at my context and then use it to give me an answer, right? Google will just go online and search for a website because Google was actually created for web page discovery and optimization, right? It was not created to be a tool where you ask follow up questions. Now, AI is not magic, right? Though it looks like sometimes that the whole AI will take over the world, and yeah. So I want you to understand that one of the reasons why humans are better than other animals is because we can speak, right? we can communicate and speak, right? Any moments where you cannot hear me for some time, you can just nudge me to let me know that you can't, right? So that I will not speak beyond time. One of the things that makes human different from other creatures is that we can speak, we can talk, we can communicate, we are verbal. Even those of us that probably can't speak can do sign languages. We have gray message for those that are blind, gray for those that are blind, and we have all these ways of communication. And what makes us actually brilliant, and this the fact that we can transfer information, we can put those information we know. I can tell you what I know, and I can communicate it to you. Now, the beginning of the whole AI concept was to create something that can predict letters, as basic as that. Something that can predict letters. Solving or predicting the next word, as simple as that, it's brought about the major breakthrough because everything we do, like it is almost like actually like what's not to be sounding religious, like actually everything was created by words, because the moment we're able to actually now predict the next word, we can actually now solve a lot of problems. We can actually now come up with a lot of things. So like I said, today will be a practical class, and we are going to just be taking a lot of examples and doing a lot of things, right? So AI is actually a tool that's because okay, let me explain it this way. Let's break it down. From a an app you use on a phone, an app you use on your phone is built by codes. Codes are like readable codes. Then you go to assembly language. Then you go to the level of transistors where we have switches and all those levels. At the end of the day, these things are just signal. So anything that can predict the next signal can write can write that thing. That is why programming models can write what's it called, programming languages, so they can predict those things. So we are just going to go into what I would call a practical, right? So I want you to take your mind off ChatGPT and see AI more as a tool that um, can understand you. Now, imagine you are a music producer, right? And you want to produce, you have an app on your system that produces music. But guess what? That app on your system does not have all these bits of um, sounds, does not have drums on it, does not have piano, does not have, that would be very frustrating to use that app. I want you to see your ChatGPT as a music producer app that has many context, that has many tools, many things inside. But to produce a song or to produce a beat that will make sense, or that will be useful, that people will like, you have to give it the kicks, you have to give it the piano, you have to give it the guitar, you have to, so the more you can actually add to it, the better the result of the sound. So unlike ChatGPT or unlike Google, where you just say blah, 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 these tools are different. So let's say you are a business. We are going into practical straight away, right? Can we still hear me, please? Can we still hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Loud and
Okay.
clear.
Unlike Google, that you say, uh, let's look at Google, and let me share. I'm going to share my screen. Um, Let me close some tabs so that we can have um okay. I'm going to be sharing my screen right about now. So in the time of Google, right, when we are using search engine, right, what we will do is, let's say I'm a business and I want to have an invoice, right? I want to design an invoice. I'll probably use Canva and all this platform, right? Canva is even a step up. I will say, do you have templates for, right, for invoice? Or you will say something like editable templates for invoice, right? And then it will give us options of platforms that we can then go. Can we see my screen? Thank you. Okay. Um, and we can then go there and say, oh, I want this platform to edit invoice. I want that platform. Let's go to Gemini and see. So this is Gemini, right? Um, so Gemini can create images. I want to, if you're a business person here, can you please signify by just giving me like a okay kind of stuff? Yeah, thank you. So um, unlike Google, where you have to look for editable stuff, can someone just speak up and give me an example of things that you will have on an invoice? I know you have price, let's say 1 million naira. What else do we have on an invoice?
Name of customer.
Okay, create for me.
Date, quantity of item purchased.
Item and quantity.
Okay. Okay. Let me use my name.
Signature.
Similar. Wow. Okay. Let's say 2 websites. Web development. Each at 1 million. Then the name of the company. Let me say tests. So tests. Then what else do we need? You mentioned something initially. I've forgotten. Price, name of customer, quantity, the name of my own company, address,
and signature.
Reference number or invoice number.
Okay, address number 2, Akobo. Invoice number. I don't even need to be right. Actually,
Signature.
logo or signature. Um, let me just put 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. Add a beautiful logo for me. Now, the interesting thing is that if I had a logo, I could literally just pick that logo and add it to this, and then let's see what it will do. Let's see. So, Google search will just lead me to somewhere else, but this has the ability to actually do something. Let's see. Sorry. Let me add, and that is, it has created an invoice for me. Let me see. This is the invoice, and it's totally free. Can we see it?
Is
Can we
this
see?
Gemini? Is this Gemini?
This is Gemini. It's totally free. Now, you can now say, oh, your company color is red. So what makes ChatGPT is different is that the more context you add to it, the better results you get, right? And I feel this will make a lot of sense for business people. You can decide to, okay, you can decide to add your logo, your whatever to it, and then it just creates it for you. Simple, straightforward, no whatever. If you want to say, oh, this invoice is due at this, you can add context to it. So now this is an example of an important tool. Many of us say, invoicing app. Straight up, this solves that problem for you as a business person, right? As a business person. What example of another thing we can do? So I want to teach us how to better use our prompts. A wrong way to write a prompt is to say something like, you want to write an email and you are writing, what will you say? Write me, you say, let's say, you just say, write me is something, you say, what would be an example of an email that you want to write? Now, let's say a customer is owing you money, and for this invoice, and they are yet to pay, and you want to mail them. Because ChatGPT understands this concept, and you can come back to this exact link to make reference, right? You can come and say something like, the customer I sent this invoice is not invoice. Sorry, I'm trying to let me just use that. Invoice is okay, yet to pay, and the invoice is overdue. Write for me an email requesting payment. So, yeah. So, can you see? It gave us the subject, invoice number, reminder, everything. So, one of the things that differentiates AI from other tools is that AI can keep memory. Now, I have to tell us a disclaimer. The longer this chart is, the less it will be able to keep track of the previous information. But I'm telling you, to a very significant level, AI can keep information, and you can have the information, based on context. So what it does is it actually takes, I don't want to boss with technical jargons, it actually takes the formal details and keeps it in memory. So it writes this new detail as part of the previous prompt, right? As part of the previous launch prompt. So we can have letter of complaint, blah blah blah. So I'm going to show you. Okay. Um. uh, I wish I had an example of a CV. Can anybody volunteer their CV to me, or mail me their CV, and show you a particular magic you can perform on your CV? So let's say I've gotten a lot of technical interviews because I can literally just take my CV as it is and then tell it to manipulate that CV to to the job description. Like let it be a perfect fit. Even nowadays people send thousands of CVs, and the first check they do is an AI check for that CV. So you could be very good, but because you don't have some specific words, your CV is not going to even pass the first stage, right? And then that will be a very big problem. So one of the things I do personally, let me do look for something. Let me stop sharing. Find a CV of mine, and then then use it as an example, right? We're all here to so see. Okay. Um, let me see. Please, are we learning? And is it value for our time? Because I can literally just take my CV as it is and then tell it to manipulate that CV to to the job description. Like let it be a perfect fit. Even nowadays people send thousands of CVs and the first check they do is an AI check for that CV. So you could be very good, but because you don't have some specific words, your CV is not going to even pass the first stage, right? And then that will be a very big problem. So one of the things I do personally, let me do look for something. Let me stop sharing. Find a CV of mine, and then then use it as an example, right? We're all here to so see. Okay. Please, are we learning? And is it? Let me look at LinkedIn. Let it load finish. Um, so some of this app, I think, and this is content or the more, but things like PDF, programming, all those stuff. I think they are still. I don't know why this is slow. Okay. Now, so I'm trying to. Yeah. Yeah. Um, so now the thing is that let's say there is a job. Um, goodness, can you help us get a job? Like it's in uni is saying sir to me. Yeah. Ah, see. So yeah, I just wanted to send it. Then I'll perform the magic. So I'll just tell it put this make sure this CV is this to this job such that it passes. Yeah. So I'll just add those to it. Okay. Have you? Okay. I think someone is trying to come in. Let's see. Okay. I think we're up. Just Have you seen one? Have you seen one? Goodness.
One minute, sorry. I'm trying to find my LinkedIn. Open my LinkedIn.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So, for those that are just joining us, I'll just go around what we've done before we proceed. So, I taught the concept of how ChatGPT works and how it can do more for you, right? And how AI is not ChatGPT generally, AIs can do more for you beyond, and what makes them different from using a search engine, which is just looking for something on the web, right? And I was able to